Hey guys, it's time for our Wednesday kind of update thing going on here. And this is going to be Mother's Day weekend coming up. So during our Sunday video that comes out, we have something really, really special for you. I actually had a Zoom meeting with my mom and had some questions. And so she's going to kind of be our special guest this weekend. So hope you'll enjoy that. And I think you'll get a kick out of her. She's a sweetheart. Hey, real quickly, before I just share something with you, I want to ask you if you would to remember to pray for the churches that are in North Jersey. I have many pastor friends up there. Pastor Joe has many pastor friends up there, and there are a lot of struggles, as you know, with everything with the coronavirus. And so just continue to pray for them. They've been hit harder than we have for sure. And even though we've had it here, it's definitely worse up there. And so please continue to pray for our churches and everybody up there, our politicians, the doctors, everyone, those in the healthcare system. Really, really important that we remember to do that. So I started thinking about a few things, because when we think about the coronavirus and we think about the days that we live in, I think we forget that we were really put here for this time. I think we forget, because what we want to do is to withdraw and say, I want to protect myself, and rightly so, we should. We should be following all the rules and doing everything the law requires and asks and everything else, no doubt there. By the same token, this is a chance for the church to be the church. And I wonder that if we lose perspective sometime, that we were made for this moment. And it reminds me, back in the Old Testament, a lady by the name of Esther. Matter of fact, there's a book called the Book of Esther. And if you remember the story, if you're familiar with it at all, we're talking about approximately 500 years before Christ, and it was the Persian Empire was in play, and they were the top of the world, and Xerxes was basically the ruler of the world, and he was over the Persian Empire. He had a wife named Queen Vashti, and he wound up getting rid of her and said, let me meet all these new girls and somebody else I can bring into my harem. Through different events, he wound up bringing in Esther. Esther actually became his favorite in his harem. And the interesting thing there is he really did not know who she really was. She was really a Jew, and he did not know that part of her background. And through a series of events, someone who was trying to get the Jews destroyed asked him to create a decree that destroyed all the Jews, and he had determined to do that. And Mordecai, who was Esther's, really her uncle, but he actually raised her like a dad, he came to her and said, Esther, you're the only one that's got basically a voice into his ears. Could you please go and ask him to save us as the Jews? And she understood this, that anybody who goes to the king, if you go with a request and that request is not something he feels like receiving, whether it's because he doesn't like the request or because he woke up on the wrong side of the bed, your life could be at stake for that. It was not an easy environment for her to go and make this request. But Mordecai looked at her and he said, who knows, that maybe you were made for such a time as this. And the cool thing about this is that she went on, and we remember the story. She went, and this man that was trying to get the Jews destroyed was exposed, and God used her to release the entire Jewish people from the wrath of the Persian Empire, and really turned it where they became people that were loved by the Persian Empire. But the interesting thing is, what we miss is that Esther was in a very, very difficult moment. Esther, she didn't know the end of the book at that time. When she walked into the king's court, she realized it was either going to be acceptance or death. And yet she walked in with the attitude that says, maybe God put me here for this moment. And I want to ask you a question. What if God put you here for this moment in time during COVID-19, when the globe needed people that are living out their Christian faith and loving the Lord with all their hearts, and people that carry hope with them? What if God put you here for this reason? And I can tell you this, he did. If you are here today listening to this video, then you have to believe that the steps of a righteous man or woman are established by the Lord. God has put you here for this moment in time. He's put me here for this moment in time. And so I want to just say this, that, it's okay to have fear. There are healthy fears. If there is a snake sitting here, and you all know how much I hate snakes, it would be a healthy fear for me to run to the other side of the room. But it would be wrong for me to be concerned that every time I open a door, there's going to be a snake there. That's a spirit of fear. And God didn't say we don't have fear. He said we don't have a spirit of fear. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And we should not be living with a spirit of fear over COVID-19. This is where we have to trust that the creator of the universe and the one who has put us here for this moment and who has established us for this time, he put us here for a reason. And we have a voice. We're the voice of hope in a world that doesn't have hope. And so I want to ask you these few questions as we close out this video. Who have you reached out to in faith? During this time, have you just said, I'm going to stay in the four walls and look out the window and close the curtains sometimes, but I'm not going to reach out to anybody? Has that been the way you've conducted your life? Or have you looked at this as, this is an opportunity for me to share hope to a lost generation? Who will be coming with you to church when we're finally coming back? Who have you impacted enough that says, you know what, I want to know what that hope is. And when they go back and they begin to worship their God, I want to check it out. I want to see what it's about. How have you grown personally during this coronavirus? How have you grown in the scriptures? How have you grown in your prayer life? How have you grown in fasting? How have you grown in your ability to manage anger or anxiety? How have you grown in these things? How have you become a victor during these times? You and I are here at a time when global panic is rampant. It's rampant in the world. But here's what I want us to understand. We were made for such a time as this. And while it may be scary, while it may be something that can be fearful at times, what a privilege. What a privilege that God put you and me here for this moment in time. And when we look back and we see so many great people who did so many great things in battle and things like this, what we're missing is that when they went to do what was right, they didn't see the end from the beginning. But they allowed courage to triumph over their fear. That's my prayer for you and for me, is that when history looks back on us, they look at us and say, they were faithful. They believed that they were here for such a time as this, and they won. And now history has changed because of them. Thank you so much for taking time to listen to this video. And if you know somebody needs encouragement, please pass it on to them. We can't wait to worship with you very soon.